Okay, so now we will begin our meeting. Warm greetings from Adyar to all sisters and brothers that join us today from all over the world and from India to this first joint lodge of the Madras Theosophical Federation and Pragya CS Studio, which we plan to continue every first and third Sunday of the month at 5 p.m. We welcome also Dr. N.C. Ramanujachari and Brother S. Raman, President and Secretary of Madras Theosophical Federation. We are very glad to have your presence here on this special occasion in which we have the presence of our dear brother Arni Narendran from TS Mumbai. Before starting our gathering, we want to make an announcement. Brother Sundaramurthy, a senior member of the Madras Theosophical Federation and member of the Adyar Lodge, passed to peace. So we request all the participants to join us for 1 minute silence in which we will pay respect to the departed soul and we will pray for his peaceful onward journey and for the well-being of all his family members. So this 1 minute of silence. Thank you. Few requests from the technical point of view to everyone is to keep your microphone muted during the talk. And if you have any question, kindly note them down and ask the questions at the end of the talk or write them in the chat box, which will be taken up after the talk. We thank you for your cooperation in this sense. So now let us begin our meeting with the universal invocation, indicating the unity in diversity and oneness of life, followed by a few moments of silence. So I request all of you to put yourselves in a comfortable position and if you feel so, to close your eyes. Oh, hidden life, vibrant in every atom. Oh, hidden light, shining in every creature. Oh, hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May all who feel themselves as one with thee know they are therefore one with every other. Now it's my big pleasure to introduce our today's speaker, who is going to share with us the lecture of Dreams and Angels, followed by a guided meditation. Brother Arni Narendran began with a career in radio and print journalism and shifted to the banking industry, where he stayed put for 4 decades. In his last assignment, he was heading the Pan-India Middle East NRI operations for his bank. He won top performer awards in banking conclaves in Shanghai and Dubai. As a student, he was on the editorial board of Students' New, a journal published by World University Service Geneva, for its India edition. He later was a Mumbai correspondent of Phoenix Rising, a metaphysical journal. He was the resident manager of the International Theosophical Youth Center at the Theosophical Society headquarters at Adyar, Chennai, during 1976. Also, his articles have appeared in Mumbai Theosophical Bulletin, Gandhian Journal, Gandhi Prabha, and Synergy Mumbai, Theosophy Forward Brazil, FOTA Magazine Greece, Hermes Magazine Athens, and Albatross Moscow, and TOS Newsletter USA. Apart from mainstream media like Business, India, and Indian Express, his writings have been translated to Spanish, Finnish, Japanese, and Russian. He is presently the honorary treasurer of the Blavatsky Lodge of the Theosophical Society in Mumbai. He is a life member of the Theosophical Order of Service. He has been engaged in teaching spoken English to marginalized children in the city under a British Council-aided project. He presently plays an advisory role in the microcredit domain aimed at women's self-empowerment. His other passions are art history and wellness meditation of the Paramhansa Yogananda lineage. He was directly initiated by the late Swami Kriyananda as a pilgrim of the New Age order. He conducts meditation sessions and delivers talks on theosophy and other allied content in India and abroad. He is also the education director of the Virtual Center of Theosophical Studies. So with no further ado, please, Brother Arni, be welcome today. I will share the screen. So you will let me know when I should change the PowerPoint, please. Let me share. Is it coming properly, Brother Arni?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I will just increase the size of the screen. Okay.
Well,
okay.
This is the first one. You're right.
Okay.
Well, namaste from Blavatsky Lodge in Mumbai. I think I should start the whole meeting with gratitude, because I usually get up in the morning with a prayer of gratitude to the universe to keep me alive and making me stay fit. So I think we'll start the evening session with a sense of gratitude to the universe, to these channels of Pragya Studio, Shrikar Agnihotri and Senora Catalina, who actually initiated this talk, and the Madras Federation of Theosophists, who I understand we are actually running a month-long program of yoga, meditation, and metaphysics. So it's a privilege to kickstart the month with this first event of the month of June, and also to my friend and the lodge president, Kashmira Kambara, who is always ever helpful to all the projects in the lodge. And the handiwork of all this PowerPoint that you see is a magical work. Look at the ferry who's carrying you away to the fairy world. So Kashmira has got a great sense of art and spirituality in her. So thanks to her. And to all of you who have come across the seas from India, my friends from all over the world, bearing the inconvenience of time. Obviously, it's an effort they have taken to spend an evening here. I hope it's well worth an evening spent. With this kind of gratitude and prayer, may I start the session. The roadmap for today's talk would be this way, so that you are mentally tuned to the evening's program. The program actually extends for 90 minutes. So the first 60 minutes will be all talk. The second 30 minutes will be all silence. So let's see whether the talk is better or silence is better. Well, you'll see it at the end of the day. Okay, and in this 60 minutes of talk, we'll have 15 minutes, a keyhole view of dreams. I'm insisting it's a keyhole view because all that we can do in 15 minutes is a keyhole view. So we'll have a keyhole view of dreams for 15 minutes. Then we have another 15 minutes of keyhole view of angels, and then a narrative about my personal encounter with both these, which I think would be worth sharing. And another 15 minutes, I would call it an add-on from all of you. If you can resonate with any of the discussions, would like to share, because these are all forums for sharing, not for teaching. I mean, we're just sharing each other's experience and knowledge. And then, of course, we sign off for the final meditation. So with this background, I would like to start dreams with the story of the Theosophical Society itself. I'm not aware how many of you are aware of the story. When Madame Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott, who were actually based out of Bombay, used to travel to Colombo, Sri Lanka, they used to come to Madras, take a ship and go to Colombo, because Colombo was their main attraction at that point of time. Especially Olcott was trying to revive Buddhism, which I think till this day, the Sri Lankan people always hold him in high esteem. So on the way, they would come to Madras, take a ferry from here. They had a ship service, I think, from Madras into Sri Lanka. It was called Ceylon. And at that time, they used to stay back in Madras and give lectures at a place called Prashappas College, where a family of a local judge called Muthuswamy Chetty used to attend his lecture. This Muthuswamy Chetty and his three sons became eventually a kind of a support system for them in Madras, because they were spellbound with these two spiritual travelers from the West. And Muthuswamy Chetty, more than him, I think it was son Subaya Chetty. And the Madras Theosophical Federation will be familiar with Subaya Chetty because his grandson is from Maitreya. I don't know if he's there in the lecture today. He's also a very active member of the Madras Federation. So the lineage continues here. So this Subaya Chetty was very close to Madame Blavatsky, and he was suggesting to her that there's a bungalow in Huddleston Garden which is up for sale. So at that point of time, a lot of British people were selling away their bungalows and moving to Ottakaman, which is a hill station in the southern part of India. Ooty, they call it. So most of them were retired officers who were not interested to go back to England. They stayed back in huge mansions with servants and so on. So he said, there's somebody who wants to sell in a distress. This Huddleston Garden, which the Theosophical Society was known, for a throwaway price. But the throwaway price, there are two different rates mentioned. One is 18,000 in one part of a literature and 7,000. But whatever it is, Olcott said, we don't have that kind of money now. So we may have to go back to Bombay, try to raise resources over a period of time and come back. But then Subaya told them, no, I don't think that he can wait that long because he's in a hurry to go off to Ooty. Then Subaya asked his dad, the judge, can you arrange for the loan for these two spiritual travelers? His father said, look, they're absolutely wonderful people, I agree, but they've just come from abroad. I don't know I can risk my life's saving by giving them a loan. He refused and went off to sleep. That night, a master appeared in his dream. And that master, he wasn't very sure who it was, but later on it was Master Moria, who appeared in the dream of Muthuswamy Chetty and told him, look, you're embarking on a mission, not only for your family or for your country. The two people who have come here are working for the entire humanity. Go ahead, you can lend them your money. So next morning, he wakes up Subaya Chetty and tells them, tell your friends, you'll give them the money. And then this is the story how the land was negotiated. And they very quickly moved in. And when Blavatsky went up to the terrace, she came back screaming down in such excitement when seeing the building. She said, the master said, this is the home. So here we are in Adyar, the home of the masters. It all starts off with a bang dream. Now, can I have the next slide, please? Yeah. So these are basically bullet points here, just to make me remember what I would talk. As I told you, I'll just run through the whole thing so that we get into the critical points a little more than others. Well, dreams obviously has been living with man as much as man had a mind to work on. Of course, he had a body. And dreams are first recorded in the Gilgamesh The Gilgamesh, the holy records, which I think much of it was found in the Hamari excavations, when they found old Babylonian tablets and literature after many years, the Nar Hamari excavations they call. And there, a mention of dream is first made of recorded history, which is almost 5,000 years ago. So we have dreams written about 5,000 years ago. And then the Greeks, in fact, wrote a book in the 5th century called Antiphon. And the Greeks were great dreamers. That's why they had great dreamers can create great spiritual outputs. Some of the, if you've gone to Greece and seen those kind of statues there, they're so dreamy and out of the world. And also in the Christian Abrahamic text, both the Old Testament and the New Testament, you have a lot of references to dreams. Of course, we have the dream where on March 25th, I think, Virgin Mary gets a dream of impending son that would be born, who would be a Messiah. That was Jesus, which will be December 25th. So that was a dream. Then we have a dream where I think was that John the Baptist's father too had a dream that old age you'd get a son. Then more important, the dream is of that Pharaoh's dream, where Joseph explained the dream as there would be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. So they, because of the dream, the Pharaoh could possibly storehouse all the grains and so on. So these dreams have been actually premonitory as well as also prophetic, I would say. And then the Greeks had a god called Morpheus. Morpheus was the Greek god of Greece, which shows how much dreams were held in importance much more earlier than present day. But then let's quickly get into the modern scientific aspects of dreams. Science, if you understand, actually emerged in the 16th century. The science as a resource, as a structured resource of study, actually emerged in the 16th century. And you'll be amazed, science emerged out of the study of the human body, the anatomy of the human body. Science actually emerged from the body. And for 350 years, they were only studying of the body, and nobody studied the mind. It was only in 1920s that Sigmund Freud, an Austrian scientist who developed the study known as psychoanalysis and started to study of dreams in a very scientific way. Now, so it's very funny that 350 years we studied the body, but not the mind. But then Sigmund Freud's theory, we will not talk about this theory because it's a huge canvas for any discussion. We'll only talk about the dream segment of Sigmund Freud's theory, because that would actually be more to the context. Otherwise, it gets too long for us to discuss on. Now, Sigmund Freud talks of 3 points. First, he says, I was quite surprised. He says dreams are actually an escape wall to allow you to sleep. I was actually thinking dreams are disturbing your sleep. Contrary to that, Sigmund Freud said dreams have been envisaged as a wall of escape to your inner tensions. It's a wall. It's a kind of a automatic wall where you can, it enables you to sleep, and sleep is essential for this body as much as the Sabbath day is important for the seventh day the Kabbalah insists on. So sleep, dreams are very essential for us to sleep well. Point number 1. Point number 2, he says, it is in these dreams that your subconscious works. It gets unleashed, rather. Unleashed would be the right word. It gets unleashed through 3 segments of the id, the ego, and the your super ego, which he calls. Now, to very shortly explain, the id is the kind of the impulsive portraying of the individual in his psyche. So that's the impulse. And then the ego is basically like what a horse rider does to the horse. So the horse may be good or bad. It depends on the horse rider. So the ego is actually the one which rides your mind. Okay. So the id is impulsive and the ego is the rider. And what exactly is the super ego? The super ego is actually language, community, your experiences of morality, which is actually a fence mender sitting and telling you, look, you need to do this way, you need to do that way. It's a kind of a learning which you have learned. So the super ego is basically, although it's in the back of your mind, it tries to prompt how the ego should behave or work on, and how. So this actually manifests into your dreams. Of course, your brain has to be active to remember any part of the dream. So these three concepts are very prime in his thinking, and this is very close to Platonian concept of dreams. Only that Platonian concept of dreams is actually working on a reverse direction, and Freud's concept is working in this direction. Now, Freud also says these dreams, when you study them by writing down these dreams in a book or a notebook, you get to understand the psyche, and this psyche can help you understand what is right and what is wrong in that individual personality. And obviously, the psychiatrist couch where this people are come and placed, patients possibly with the chronic psychosomatic disease, with deliriums, with what do you call nightmares, sleeplessness. Those kind of people used to come to him. So he used to study those minds of those people and write down in a diary. And then he discovered most of the stories were actually storehouses of their childhood experiences. And these childhood experiences, obviously negative experiences are much stored rather than positive. So he talks of these childhood experiences. And out of these childhood experiences, he talks about the libido, which is more the sexual aspect of the child thought. Then he talks about death, which is also a kind of fear aspect of the thought. And he talks about how this manifests. In fact, uh, he finds that all the problems are actually out of your childhood problems, which have actually grown but not addressed. They have not been addressed. So any disease which is not addressed keeps growing cancerously. So he was trying to find out. Then he developed psychiatry, which is again a treatment of a kind of a vitrified psyche, which is actually being putrefied rather. And so he found out this knowledge of psychiatry. But Freud had one limitation. He finds that it is within a circle of awareness and consciousness that all these dreams emanate, whether it's a childhood dream or a present dream. He also talks of present day dreams or days or I mean, occurrences during the day or earlier part of your life or later part of your life, but more he talks of childhood dreams. So he says it's all from a storehouse of your awareness and consciousness. So this is very important for us to note. Freud's concept was around a circle of awareness and around a circle of consciousness or the individual side. Now, Freud is actually revered as the founder of psychoanalysis, and he's kept on a pedestal like Marx and Darwin. And such people who are always coming out of the regular milieu of thought are always found to be criticized. And Freudian thought was amazingly criticized by none other than women. Why I'm talking about this? Because Simone de Beauvoir was a wife of Jean-Paul Sartre, the existential philosopher. She was the first to criticize Freud, saying that Freud was resting on this concept of subordinating women. He said, you have treated women as a second citizen, which is no way true. So your entire theory is debunked on this subordination of women. She wrote a book called The Second Sex. Women liberals would actually know about it. And also close to her was another critique. Who was that? Betty Friedman? Yes, Betty Friedman, who was again the feminine mystic writer. So the women's movement was very strong. But amazingly, much more than these people, it was the Theosophical Society which spearheaded the women's liberal movement. I don't know if theosophists are aware, but I think we should become aware. That is the reason in the first objective, there is a marked mention of discrimination against sex. When Theosophy talks of humanity as both men and women, but they also insist that the discrimination should not exist if humanity is to progress. In fact, Blavatsky's mother was a woman liber. In olden days, Tsar Russia, he used to write books, novels on such themes. And Blavatsky and, as you know, Annie Besant were championing women's cause. So we were actually much earlier than these people who criticize Freud, Sigmund Freud. So Sigmund Freud contribution is a very important aspect. He did open up the doors of dreams and psychoanalysis. But then another deadly critic of Sigmund Freud happened to become his own student or collaborator was Carl Jung. Carl Jung was a Swiss um, scientist, but Carl Jung's childhood is very, very important for us to understand. His mother was having nightmares all over the night, and he's used to this kind of deliriums of his mother coming and running out of the room, screaming, not sleeping in the night. It was a kind of a real hands-on experience that he had with this kind of nightmares. And one night he saw a light of a human being walking out of his mother's room without a head. So all this kind of spirits were actually hanging around his mother. He wasn't really understanding what it all meant. So that is the reason he took more interest in psychoanalysis, started collaborating with Sigmund Freud initially, but then he came closer to theosophy and he came closer to metaphysics. One reason at that point of time, please remember, for any spiritualist to be, any scientist to be associated with spiritual people would be against the interest. So Carl Jung, although was a student of Ramana Maharishi, whom he admired more, even when he came to India, he didn't visit his ashram, for the simple reason that he didn't want to be bracketed as a spiritualist or a philosopher. He wanted to be more in the garb of a scientist and psychoanalyst. And where is Carl Jung closer to theosophy, and where is Carl Jung different from Freud? So in the dreams concept, Carl Jung says there is what is known as collective conscious. Apart from your awareness, your existing conscious of your own experience, there's also a collective conscious. This is what theosophy talks about. Theosophy talks about the unity of the universe and a collective conscious. As we speak here, sitting 60 or 70 people here getting together, this is actually echoing in the ether. The thoughts that we are expressing, because that's the reason we get into groups for expressing thought, for meditation, for healing, because when it's together, the power of the word goes into this ether, and then whatever positive things we talk and discuss about actually keep changing the consciousness of the earth. We are microcosm of the macrocosm, which means as the earth changes, there are changes in our body. And where we individually change, the human species changes, the earth also changes. So therefore, it's very essential for us to be in sync with the universe. Okay, so Carl Jung had a lot of following among the hoi polloi, people like David Bowie, who died last year, a pop singer. David Bowie has written a song called Aladdin Shade, a song basically on Freudian theory. And then we also have, I think, Police, if you know the band Police, who are very famous for Message in a Bottle song. I've heard them live too in Bombay. So they also have a song called Synchronicity, which is again based on Carl Jung's theory of dreams. So dreams have actually encouraged a lot of people, like Paul McCartney's song. Yesterday was actually the whole lyrics was in a dream, and that Google search page, Larry Page, the Google search web was also in a dream. So dreams have been, I think, a hotbed of spiritual revelations to many people, and many people would not possibly tell it out, but this is actually how the dreams have been essentially working in the consciousness, the dynamics of the human consciousness. So I think we should round off, but then we should get one important aspect of theosophical concept of dreams. Now, luckily, I don't have to explain about theosophy, the different, the 7 planes of the body. So where does this dream actually occur in a body? It is okay. Physically, the brain registered, some aspects of it are registered, fine. But then the theosophists believe it is the astral body which is actually the resource center for emotions and desires. So both emotions and desires are stored in the astral body, number one. Number two, this astral body, like a rocket launcher, is detachable from the physical body, and possibly or not, every night the astral body, if it wants, can detach itself from the physical body and wander away wherever it wants to go. It can meet its girlfriend, it can meet with a music concert, it can go away to a past life contact, anywhere the astral body can go. But you may not possibly remember where the astral body went, and what it actually searched around, you may not be knowing about it. Anyway, so that concept is Theosophy believed, and then Blavatsky talks about, I think that's very important. She talks about 6 kinds of dreams. But very quickly, I would tell you, as we're running short of the 15 minutes time slot, Blavatsky talks there are 2 kinds of dreams. The regular dream, which we dream about on a regular day-to-day basis, is basically from your kama manas, which is of inconsequence. He says it's more of your animal desires which keep coming in and going, so it's not much important. But those dreams which emanate from your Buddhic mind, or your higher manas or your Buddhic mind, are the intuitive ones. The intuitive ones who are actually giving you some message of your past life, your future life, your premonition, crossing time barriers, transpersonal. Transpersonal, you can even dream about a third person. Remember that Julius Caesar, Ides of March, somebody, when he comes back from Victory March, somebody says, beware of the Ides of March. He had a dream in his mind that Caesar is going to be assassinated. So Theosophy believes that the intuitive dream is what actually of consequence, and people who meditate a great deal will get to the intuitive mind. So meditation is the key element of the inner journey, and the inner journey is actually the true self, and what we are, the external is our mask. The mask that we carry, I may try to be think of the mask that I'm very erudite here. That's the mask that I carry. I may be aware of it, I may not be aware of it. We all go around in a mask, but the true self of you, me, of everybody here is one singularity of the divine. So that is the reason why we need to meditate to connect to the inner self. So I think I'll have to get into angels, otherwise they'll fly away. My dream, I think I should stop here. So can I get into angels now? Can you get into the next slide, Catalina, please? Yeah. Okay. So this is the beautiful angelic picture of Kashmira has produced. So angels are basically, they mean messenger in the Greek word. Of course, they etymologically they developed into Latin, and then I think English also they have a word which is very archaic. The beauty is, whether dreams or angels, they've been time immemorial, but somehow they are very flimsy talks. People don't believe about it. Or if somebody talks about it, they would think it's just bunkum. So that's quite amazing. Now, one religion which even now holds angels in high regard, because I move with the community of Zoroastrians, they hold these angels in very high regard. The Ahura Mazda, who was the main god of Zarathustra. Zarathustra was the saint who actually was a messiah of Ahura Mazda. They created 6 Amesha Spentas. The Amesha Spentas is the name of this. They are closely to your Deva chants, which Blavatsky talks about how these Deva chants were weavers of human bodies, and they are close to your archangels like Michael and Gabriel and so on. So these Amesha Spentas are 6 in number, but then each has got a guardian angel. Each Zoroastrian has, if you see, most of the Zoroastrians will have an angelic crystal at home, or a marble statue at home, which they revere as much as God. Because the first call, the first contact, the divine contact for a Zoroastrian would be the Fravashi. The Fravashi is again an angelic being, which will immediately address you if you are so attached to it, if you're loving to it. But then it's not only Zoroastrianism which talks about it. We have Christianity, of course, when Jesus was nailed to the cross on Friday. I think Sunday, the 2 Marys go to the cross to go and see his body, and they see it disappear. It was Virgin Mary and Mary Magdalene who go there, and they see it disappear. And suddenly 2 angels appear and say, no, your Lord is going to come in person. And Jesus comes back in the resurrection. And the doubting Thomas doubted, and he had to pinch Jesus' feet to make sure he's back alive. So that time again, you have angelic appearances. So Christianity, a lot of angels have been referred to in the divine work. And there we are, running a very short of time. I thought I should build up more knowledge of this, but actually it's going contrary to my time factor. So anyway, so I will quickly run over. But I'll tell you one interesting aspect of the Buddhist tantric practices. The Dakinis are actually angels. Dakinis. Why I'm talking about them? Because they believe the appearance of these dakinis at each level is kind of your signal as how far you're gone into your practice or your tantra practice of Buddhist meditation. So this is more for the Tibetan Buddhism, and as you know, more of Tibetan Buddhism has its origin in Kashmir Shaivism. So the Dakini, they talk of four Dakinis, and the Buddhist practice of the Tibetan school of Buddhism, which they practice, they also believe these Dakinis can come in human form. So this is again a kind of a new trend in thinking that human beings can also be angelic. Maybe Mother Teresa was angelic, or maybe Nightingale was angelic. Maybe there are hundreds of such cases for angelic people. So the angel can dwell in them. So they believed, and even a Christian group, who was that? I tell you, Swedenborgers. Swedenborgers was a Christian group who actually believed little babies become angels after their death, and then they also have this concept of the human body parking angels in them. The Swedenborger Church, which is not, I don't think that, I don't know, Dr. Roselle may know, they may not have been accepted by the Vatican. The Swedenborger Church was a breakaway, could be, but then they believed that human beings could also harbor angels in them. So this is the religious, what do you call, text references to angels. Now, we have another 5 minutes to go, but I should not miss out two very important theosophers when I talk about angels. One is Jeffrey Hodgson. Jeffrey Hodgson was a resident in Adyar. He lived in Adyar. He was running the School of Wisdom. Some of you may know him. Jeffrey Hodgson had a remarkable clairvoyant ability to see and meet angels. He actually settled down in New Zealand, but his work actually was more in the Philippines. And Dr. Roselle, who's here today, has been a beneficiary of, his whole family has been a beneficiary of Dr. Jeffrey Hodgson's psychic abilities. And I'm sure they even rubbed off some of it because Dr. Roselle's sister was saved by an angel in an American cancer hospital. Maybe Dr. Roselle can narrate after the talk, if he's there, how the angelic presence, if you believe and trust them, would be of great help to you if you deserve it. We ask for something, but we should qualify to ask them. See, I can't go and ask my dad for a cycle when I keep failing in my class. I need to pass in my class, get good marks, then go to my dad and ask for a cycle. So we need, similarly, when you ask, is angelic or divine help, please mute your mics. It doesn't sound an angelic voice anyway, so please mute your mics. Thank you. So Jeffrey Hodgson was able to write about them. I think some of the books of Jeffrey Hodgson, I have, I think, The Kingdom of God is one of the books I think he's written. But he's also, there's a trilogy which was published in the Philippines by the Wick of Jeffrey Hodgson. So I think there's a lot of literature about Jeffrey Hodgson you can read. He was able to record, paint, and he also has been a great inspiration to many artists. And one of the areas he went was the English countryside. See, the English countryside have also been enthralled with the beauty of the lake country in Britain. Beautiful. There are obviously presence where angels are there. Apart from it, it was also where some of the parts of the Atlantis, they say, chipped off. Some of the parts of the lost continent of Atlantis was chipped off into the British Isles. Stonehenge is one, you can say, edifice of this Atlantean remnant. So Jeffrey Hodgson took a motorbike with his wife and rode around and met angels. But England also at that point of time was like spiritualism was getting popular in the UK, I mean Europe. Even talking about angels became, and two sisters started writing in the newspaper about photographs. It was called, I think, I don't remember the name of the city. It was Potting, what is that? I don't know. Anyway, I'd written it down somewhere. So they wrote a big article and people got interested how they were able to sight angels and photograph. But later on, that happened to be a hoax. So after that, everything became fallen angels. So angels became a no subject to discuss. But Jeffrey Hodgson, he went to South Africa, he went to Mexico, he was in the Philippines, where he developed healing and with his angelic healing. So Philippines and Singapore are reviving it in a very big way. And thanks to them, for reviving this lost wisdom of theosophy. Maybe there are many others, but I'm actually able to see the renaissance of spiritual healing in the Philippines and Singapore Theosophical Society. So Jeffrey Hodgson's Kingdom of God, Kingdom of the Angels, or some, that is the name of the book I think he wrote. So it's for those who are interested, you can read 4 theosophical authors. One is, of course, you can read Jeffrey Hodgson. Then you can read Anna Kingsford. Then you can read Leadbeater. Then you can read Dora Kuhn. Now, the last speaker is Dora Kuhn I'm talking about. Dora Kuhn was also in Adyar. She was actually born in Batavia, in Java. A Dutch lady, her father was running a sugar factory there. She talks about her experiences in Java, Indonesia, where she first came across these fairies whom she met in the Sumatran jungles or some places there. Later on, she moved to Australia, where she married Kuhns. And she, for 20 years, did not talk about the angels much. Dora Kuhn was rather silent about it, because I tell you honestly, these divine experiences are better spoken, less spoken, number one. But then I also feel there has to be some kind of a sharing with like-minded people. Otherwise, others would be losing this kind of an experience. So there are two views about it, but I always feel a sharing of these experiences are very important. So Dora Kuhn, if you are interested, you can read. She also was running a uh, pumpkin farm or something in sometime in Washington, where she was doing this divine kind of healing with the angelic presence. She also had this Indralaya farm. She's one of those theosophists who was able to bring in this kind of, these are all energies. Actually, how do angels look? Now I can tell you in my narrative of 15 minutes. How do the angels look? So that'll be interesting. So these angelic figure that you see here is far removed from what actually one can experience. Okay. Now, I think I need to get to the final slot of my own experience, otherwise we'll run out of time. So please, Catalina, the final slot of the next slide, please. There you are. Okay. Now, if you had met me before March 2018 and talked about dreams and angels, I wouldn't have been as much interested as I'm deeply now, because before that, I was not much of a dreamer, neither a daydreamer or a night dreamer. I was, of course, I was a regular meditator, a serious meditator, and an aspirant, I would say, but not a dreamer. But around March, I was doing research on art and theosophy, and I discovered an amazing world. I discovered an amazing world. Night and day, my wife used to ask me, "What are you keeping? Looking at your computers night and day." So this was the amazing world of how theosophy influenced art. And one lady of mention is Hilma of Klint. You see the picture there? And this painting that you see here was written by angelic hands, angelic force, she calls it, or angelic energy, you can call it. Hilma of Klint was an artist who was, again, very nature lover. She was initially painting nature things. And then she came in contact with an ascended master. And through the masters, these angels used to appear in the studio. So so when I was doing this research, and I was pouring more into Hilma's contact with the angels that interested me. And one night, the first ever time I could sense a kind of bluish light. I could actually get into the studio of Hilma. I've never been there, obviously, never been to Stockholm, but at least I could get into Hilma's studio, get back in time. I could see Hilma, not me, but I was actually a bystander, possibly, or looking through the window, or I don't know. But anyway, I was watching as if I'm in the room of Hilma's painting studio. And the Hilma's painting studio, I could listen to music of the sphere. I don't know if somebody was playing the piano or whether it was just imaginative music. But then, how do you say you would ask me they were angels? Because they were shining, vibrating with a great deal of blissful vibration. I could feel this dream was very special to me because it was more of being in the light, being in the vibration. And it was very, very blissful. I could not tell you whether it was 1 minute, it was 10 minutes, or 1 hour, I would not tell you. But there I could see the presence of the angels, and they were just light, bluish tinge of bright light, friendly faces. Maybe there were image of human images. More, it could be a woman or a man. It could be either way. of human faces. You can just see shades of it, but voices. Then you would ask me, was it three-dimensional? Yes, there were voices. Sometimes I was feeling it was my own voice talking to the angel. Sometimes it was a voice where I've heard, whether a voice of a dead person, voice of a living person, I wouldn't say, but very clear in human English language. Fortunately, it is not in Swedish, it was in English. Or was it, I was trying to translate it with my own mental translator, I wouldn't know. But then I had this vibratory feeling. And next morning when you get up, usually when you get out of a regular video shots of dreams in your dream sessions, you get tired in the morning. That's the general feeling. That morning I felt as if I was in a samadhi state. So I was excited, of course, but I didn't. Of course, my wife and daughter would be the last person to ever believe it, so I never shared it with them, and it was good I didn't. And then, but I had a friend in the lodge, and weeks later, I just told him. Then he said, "No, Arni, I think you're getting obsessed with this angels and art and things like that. So maybe you're just getting that." Okay, so I stopped with that. Then this was March. Then around April or May, I suddenly see the same angels appear. I would call them same angels because I told you they were basically light, bluish white, illuminative light with huge power. The light was pleasant, not unpleasant, and the vibrations were blissful to your body. It was a new state of being, these vibrations. And then the Mahatma letters used to just appear. Some of the pages used to appear. Either they used to stand in thin air, or I don't remember exactly. Either they used to stand in thin air, or was it on a table? But I know it's a Mahatma letters. And and then I would get up after the dream. This time, this would be happening around midnightish. Generally, when I get up, I always have a habit of looking into my cell phone or looking into my internet, the cell phone. And this one would be. So what I do when I open it up, there is an article talking about the Mahatma letters, some kind of a reference, could be direct or indirect reference. So the dream, Mahatma letters, the message is Mahatma letters, and then I forget it. Okay, there's another dream. Okay, then around another 1 month or 2 months again, the same ditto thing happens, and the Mahatma letters appear. And then when I open it up, again, I think this time there was an internet article on the Mahatma letters, or somehow I landed into a Mahatma letters page through Blavatsky archives. It really gets into that page. So this is twice that I get the Mahatma letters. But then this also I did not share with anybody. But later on, much around maybe June, I shared with my friend at the cafe after my lodge talk. He said, "Arni, when did you read the Mahatma letters?" I said, "I read the Mahatma letters when I first joined the Philosophical Society. After that, I never touched that book. Maybe I would have seen references." It's okay, he said. I mean, maybe you're getting some kind of a connect to this forces, but he said it's not of any relevance. Then around September, my daughter comes home and tells me, "Mama, I want you and Dad to go to the British Isles." We said, "What?" Generally, all the three of us would actually visit, but she comes and tells, "Mama, if you want me to go with my friends, we are planning to go on a cycling tour of Scotland. We are meeting from across the world, gathering in Scotland, and we're going to cycle around there. But I'll not go there till you people go visit UK first, because I'll feel a sense of guilt in me, which I don't want." So she packed us off virtually to UK, plane tickets, and we went around October, I think. Yeah, October was the trip. Okay, let aside the Mahatma letters. 1 week before I start my journey to UK, I get a Facebook page from Elias Paiva. I think many of you know, especially in the European school. I don't get it to me. It's a Facebook page visiting the Mahatma letters in the UK British Library, showing all the pictures of the Mahatma letters, whatever. There was something like that. So next morning, I simply messaged to Elias Paiva. Elias, I know him as a friend, but there's some connect with Elias Paiva. I'll tell you there again. Whenever Elias Paiva visits a country, I visit that. I've seen the Facebook, although I never met him that time. When he visited Bhutan, the next year I visited Bhutan. So he visits the British Library. The next week, I'm going to visit the British Library. Then I checked up with him. Unfortunately, he said, "It's not easy, Arni. You're not going to get an appointment one day because it's not a book which has been regularly indented. It even take a month. But anyway, you just give it a try." So I shot off an email, got myself registered. If anybody is going to UK, get yourself registered with the British Library online first before you go there. Tell them a date you would like to come there and the purpose you would like to go there. Unfortunately, I did through Eli and Elias Paiva. I told you we were connected earlier lives. I happened to meet him later on in Greece, where we exchanged tea from India and he exchanged coffee from Brazil. Lovely brother. He's actually a specialist in secret doctor in the Portuguese language, and he and his wife, wonderful people. So I should thank him for. I always feel even a little help of taking a pen from somebody, we need to thank them equally with great love. So I always have this thanks to Elias Piper. And when I go to the British Library, how the angels help me. Oh, we're running short. Just 10 minutes of questions. I think I'll not tell you about how the angels help me there because we need at least 10 minutes for discussion. So I'll try to spare off. But eventually I land up at the British Library with a lot of roadblocks, with angelic helps. I did manage to read 2 hours, that exhilarating experience of the Mahatma letters. Thanks to the angelic help, thanks to the masters, thanks to all the universe which helped me. Catalina, is that the right time to wind up?
Yeah, Brother Arni.
Yeah, I think perfect. So. Yeah, we should be fair to the attendees. If anybody would like to add up, please open up the floor.
So we will stop the presentation.
Yeah, at least 10 minutes. Okay. 15. Yeah, please. There you are. Thank you so much and for the talk, for allowing me to talk about my dreams and angels.
Thank you, Brother Arni, for such an interesting, inspiring, and talk on such a mysterious subject that I think everyone of our attendees might have some experience of at some point of time in their life. And since you shared also your personal added your personal experience, it really made it very interesting. And just wanted to share, you mentioned Brother Subaya Chetty in the beginning of your talk.
Yeah.
Our residence is right on Subaya Chetty Avenue in Adyar campus.
Okay, so there you are connected.
Yeah, so we can very easily connect it. But before we proceed with the vote of thanks and the meditation, we would like to request if there are any questions or comments from our attendees from all over the world, from Madras Theosophical Federation, or all the people who are joining, please feel free to ask your questions. You can raise hands or write them in the chat box. We'll take it up.
I just want to say Jumbo from East Africa and to say to Brother Arni that I think all the 4 countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Zambia, they keep sending messages. Don't miss out on Brother Arni's talk. So also is so proud of you, and this is an excellent topic. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepa, for the compliments. No big bats, fortunately.
Yeah. Thank you, Sister Deepa Kapoor, for giving your feedback. Just request if you want to talk, please switch on your video so we can spotlight you and you can share your thoughts. Anyone would like to say anything?
Can I say something?
Yeah, Dr. Rajam. Yes, Dr. Rajam, please.
Actually, in Buddha and Jain scriptures, dreams are very important. Mahavir's mother, when she was conceived, she dreamt many, there are Ratna they are called, 12 or 13 Ratna, and then the astrologers were called and they said the son will be a Chakravarti with all these symptoms. So in India also and in Islam, there are people who interpret the dream. You open Quran, look at some ayat, interpret the dream. So dreams are very important in all the religion practiced or ancient. Thanks a lot for Theosophical Law.
I would request Dr. Roselle to just say a word because Dr. Roselle, we should not miss out on your experience. At least a couple of words from you, please.
Thank you, Brother Arni. I am Dr. Rosel Doval Santos, former General Secretary of the Theosophical Society in the Philippines. I had a long friendship, mentorship with Jeffrey Hudson. What he impressed upon us was the idea that all of us have the capacity to find a balance, a center of peace within. And if we find that Laya center, particularly by a long practice of spiritual living and meditation, we can ascend higher in consciousness to planes we usually do not see in our Jagrat or normal state. And it is in that state of attunement that we will have authentic communication with the devas. Now, the devas or the angels, as shown by the inspiring story of Brother Arni, uh, they are part of our work, particularly in the Theosophical Society, particularly for those who use mantras. Remember, mantras work by different ways, and part of the power of the mantra is the interaction with the Devic kingdom. And when, for example, in Islam, the call to prayer is pronounced, the angels are drawn in formation, in a formation, and they pour energy into the congregation because by covenant, Prophet Muhammad, who was the disciple of the Lord Maitreya, he had a covenant with the angelic hierarchy that in such events we create a crucible wherein which energy is poured and distributed towards the whole congregation or assemblage, whether it is Islam, Christian, or in the Mohammedan, in the Hindu tradition, or whatever tradition. The angels are also involved in healing and birth. And this is quite short. I shared it before in a talk, and Brother Arni was there. My sister was dying of diphtheria at the age of 4. She was in the hospital. We were told that she would be dead by morning. At 2 to 3 a.m., my 4-year-old sister saw the blue light that perhaps is what Arni saw, and an intense blue, loving glow. And slowly the head of the World Mother appeared like a rising sun at the foot of her bed. And then they had a mental conversation. A 4-year-old dying girl who had not eaten for days, could not swallow food, was suddenly alive and talking mentally. And within a period of time she could not describe, the healing angels that were pictured in the book, The Kingdom of the Gods, were exactly what she saw. And they were pouring warm, loving energy, gold and blue, into her. And when the appointed time came, they left. The blue light set like a sun. And then she woke up my mother, who fell asleep crying by the bed, and asked for food. And she was one of the first recoveries of diphtheria way back in the 1960s in our public hospital system. Several years later, about 5 years later, Jeffrey Hudson was in Manila to give a talk. And the Theosophical Society laid out books by Jeffrey Hudson for the public listeners to see. My sister saw a book that was orange in color, and she started flipping it. The elders were already inside the hall, and the children were not allowed inside. So we were outside. And then she suddenly called me by my name, Rosel. This one, this is the angel that I saw. This exactly like this. So I share this to impart a sense of realism to Brother Arni's talk. We should establish in the Theosophical Society a movement for the brotherhood or the sisterhood or the cooperation between angels and men and women. And part of the talk of Brother Arni is exactly what our family believes in: the blue glowing light, the silence, the sense of being loved. And I share this in all humility with no claims of stature, but I feel that it is a reality. Thank you very much.
We are most fortunate to have heard from Dr. Roselle. In fact, Dr. Roselle is very silent about his background. It was me who discovered in the history of the Philippine Philosophical Society. And although we have never met physically, I know the kind of psychic abilities the family possesses because of the association with Jeffrey Hodgson. And this group is very, very fortunate that we have his presence here and we have him speak here. This would be a great beginning, and Catalina will soon see the angel of Adyar sooner or later and narrate to us someday. Take it from me, write it in a diary. Before you leave Adyar, you will do it because Dr. Roselle has spoken to us. These are energies which keep moving without any seamless borders, because we are past that physicality. The world itself is now past the physicality and getting into the virtual world, which is enough manifestation to give the signal to us that we don't require physical presence of people. I have the greatest feeling of close and proximity with people who live in South America, who are far away, maybe more than anybody near my home. It's now become seamless. So I think it's high time. And let's get into the meditation mode and now the silence mode. So get ready, folks.
Just
Word of thanks. Okay.
Just a minute, Brother Arni. Thank you, Dr. Rosal, for sharing your experiences and with us about the angelic kingdom and adding to Brother Arni's talk. So now, since we are running short of time, we would like to share a word of thanks at this point of time, because we'll be having the meditation, guided meditation by Brother Arni Narendran, after which, in the end, he will chant Om 3 times, and after which all of us would log off without saying any word in a silent mode. So, without wasting any time, on behalf of Madras Theosophical Federation, although I requested Brother S. Raman, Secretary of Madras Theosophical Federation, to give vote of thanks, but he said, told me only to do it in return. So on behalf of Madras Theosophical Federation, Dr. Ramanujachari, Brother S. Raman, and all the members of the Theosophical Society of Madras Federation, of Pragya CS Studio, and all our delegates, we thank Brother Arni Narendran to take time out and share with us his very lucid explanation on such a mysterious subject. Thank you a lot, Brother Arni. And we thank all the delegates who have joined us from all over the world, taking time out from their busy schedule and being with us. So we really extend our heartfelt gratitude to all of you for being with us. And finally, in the end, just an announcement that, as we said, we'll be doing this joint meeting of Madras Theosophical Federation and Pragya CS Studio. So similarly, combining it with the International Day of Yoga, we have, as you can see on your screen, the following programs coming up, which will be Sister Linda Oliveira will be giving the talk on 19th June, Saturday, which is an out-of-turn program, which is not on Sunday. So just for everyone to remember, 19th June, Saturday, it is 10:30 a.m. Indian time, 10:30 a.m. Indian time, 5 a.m. GMT, and the subject will be the art of Raj Yoga. And in continuation with that, on 20th June, we will have Sister Swati Reddy from Bangalore, 5 p.m. Indian time, which will be the Sunday. So the next program, joint program, will be on 20th June. Her topic will be yoga, a holistic approach to daily life. So please kindly join us during these programs, and we'll be looking forward to meeting you again. And without further ado, let us move on with a very important aspect of the meditation and mode. And I request Brother Arni to take over. And after that, we will not be saying anything. Please log off in the end without saying a word. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Well, I'm actually a Kriya practitioner, but I can't share Kriya with people. So what we're going to do is a very general basic meditation. But I want to tell two things here. Swami Kriyananda says, whatever technique you practice, it will not be of any effective value unless you have two things in mind. One is you must have an intention, whatever intention you're sitting for meditation, whether it's for your own healing or you're healing your friend or your planetary healing, or even if you're looking, he was even conducting classes on material wealth. So he says meditation can be with an intent. So the first thing when you sit in meditation, you should have an intent. What is your intent? And the second thing is the intensity. The intensity should be coming from your heart. See, many of us, even I have done very perfunctory meditation because I had to do it every day. I used to go to work, come back with a late night party, but then after a shower, all that was not fair. But then he says intention and intensity will bring you the reward. So that is one tip I would like to give. The second tip I would like to give is when you sit for meditation, smile. Even a plastic smile is good enough. This is my learning. When you start smiling, immediately what happens, your joy emanates out of you. Whatever your mood, you're angry, you fought with somebody, you lost your business money, whatever, come back, sit in your meditation chair, use the same spot as much as you can at home. The power of spot is a book I have. So if you use the same spot, it gets energized. So smile and open up your heart. The mind is not at all a channel for meditating, although we use it initially for a cast hearing. The heart is where the central point of meditation. So this is the tip I would like to give to you before we do this would be a mindful meditation of silence for 20 minutes. The intention here would be to still our body, to still our mind, and to keep our mind focused so that we are in control of our own self. I talked about the rider on a horse. We need to be a good rider on the horse. So this is a basic meditation technique which you can do anytime. So this is not a Kriya practice. I'm unable to share that. I'm so sorry because of the oath of promise. So let's get into the meditation mode. Another important aspect is say, before meditation, I don't know, whatever school you follow, energization is very important because unless the body is energized, it will not be able to catch the energy of the universe. So you need to get your body like a magnet, a magnet has to be functional before it attracts iron. Similarly, energization in our Kriya technique, we have 39 movements of energization, which absolutely keeps you wonderful the whole day. It's an amazing experience. I'm sure many other schools of meditation also have it. So smile, opening your heart, and being energized would be a common prerequisite for any meditation. And this is a lifelong secret that I'm sharing. So please utilize that. You'll see the difference in your life. Okay, now close your eyes. Sit comfortably. Relax your body. Now, take 3 gentle breaths, inhale and exhale on your own count, but full cycle breaths, deep, expanding your belly and your chest, contracting them when you exhale. 3 deep breaths. Having taken that, I'll teach you a technique which Paramahansa Yogananda was practicing to get this energization in the body. You can possibly see what I do. double inhalation through your nose, double exhalation through your mouth, and vibrating your entire body. Okay, so I'll just first do it so that you get understand what I'm trying to do. So a swift double inhalation as you keep your body vibrating, and then double exhalation, gently, like a waterfall falling down. So do it 3 times on your own, closing your eyes with great intensity and great vibration. Now gently focus your mind on your left foot. Becoming conscious of your body is another important aspect of meditation. Focus your mind on your left foot. Tense the muscles of your left foot as hard as you can, squeezing it as hard as you can, and feel the energy in your left foot. Move on to your right. Tense your right foot. Squeeze as hard as you can and release it and feel the energy in that part of the body. Gently move up to your left calf. Tense and squeeze your left calf. Release it. Move over to your right calf. Tense it, release it. Your left thighs, tense and release it. Your right, tense and release it. Your hips, tense and release it. The lower abdomen, tense and release it. Your left forearm, tense and release it. Your right forearm, tense and release it. Your left upper arm, tense and release it. The right upper arm, tense and release it. Your left of the chest, tense and release it. Your right, your left of the shoulders, right, face muscles, your chin, your cheeks, your face. Now that you become conscious of your body and you feel the flow of energy, feel the presence of your body and the energy flowing up and down your spine as you gently keep breathing rhythmically. Inhalation and exhalation. Do it as gently. Each person can do at his own pace. Smiling, opening your heart to the universe, feeling the light of the universe, you exchanging the light from your heart to the universe, feeling the oneness of all of us sitting here, feeling the universe is part of us and we are a part of the universe with all those feelings, and feeling a sense of joy. Silently close your eyes. Now gently shift your focus of your mind from the body to your breath. Feel the coolness of your breath as you inhale gently. Feel the warmth of your breath as you exhale gently. Having shifted your focus to the breath, keep focused till the end of the meditation without resisting the smell, the sound, the noise, the thoughts. Don't resist anything. Let them come, let them go. Only thing, stick on to your focus on the breath and enjoy the breath, feeling a great sense of light and love flowing through your body, healing every part of the body, healing every cell in your body. As it moves up, you get healed. And as you exhale all the toxics of the body. So with this sensation, keep inhalation and exhalation. The actual meditation will start after Catalina says the gong going, but before that, I have a small affirmation. Listen to the affirmation with intensity. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, saints of all religions, we humbly bow to Thee. Manifest your healing presence in all who have gathered here. Manifest your healing presence in all our bodies, in all our minds, in all our souls. Manifest your healing presence upon all people who are suffering in this earth of the pandemic. Manifest your healing presence upon all beings, the animal, the plant kingdom. Manifest your healing presence across the universe. Bring in love through your love and light. Fill us with your love. Fill us with your healing light. We are your children. Bless us. Protect us. I now request Sister Katerina to set the first gong going. After every 5 minutes, you'll have a gong. At the end of 20 minutes, you'll have a double gong. We sign off with Om. The first gong, please. And hold your focus at the point between the eyebrows without straining your face muscles, looking into the distant horizon. Keep your mind focused on the breath. Keep your body relaxed. Keep your heart open. Feel the universal love and light. Om. Om. May we all be well. May we all be healthy. May we all help each other. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.